We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Hits with Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And I'm just going to start the show with saying that I'm probably going to get attacked on just about every angle by people that I think are probably right now in a fervor due to the coverage and their understanding of a conflict that could possibly lead us further into a World War III type scenario outside of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. So that's really where I want to begin. Because no one likes to see dead kids, dead teenagers, people getting attacked like something out of a movie. And that's also where I kind of want to begin here. What we've seen so far with this Hamas attack on a music festival is again something you would see out of scripted entertainment shot in a vivid fashion. And when you see something like that in real life, the first thing you do is you equate it to something like that, and believe it or not, has a larger impact on you than it would if it was not something that looked out straight out of a TV series, a movie, entertainment. And especially the way that the media portrays these type of events. Okay, and by the way, I'm not saying this is a scripted fake thing. Real as it gets. It's not my point here. My point is that right now, people are wholeheartedly believing institutions that have continually lied to them and further entrenched them into conflicts that kill human beings and really, at the end of the day, benefit no one but the predator class, allowing them to instill fear and install even greater mechanisms of track, trace, database, social control over the entire populace. Now, there are already developments here that I am just so upset about. This just being one of them, the tip of the iceberg. Live. Israel orders total blockade of Gaza, no electricity, no food, no fuel. There are 2 million people that live there. The vast majority of which are literally living in an ethnically cleansed ghetto. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, Palestine is an open air prison by most regards. And in order for this whole situation to change, that has to change. The problem is that neither side, and really when you look at Israel, they're not negotiating. They're not leaving. They don't really want a two-state solution. That's an issue. Netanyahu, I believe to be a very dangerous man. Somebody who makes some of the neocons blush. Somebody that's really been in power around the 9/11 days as well. I quoted him in my 2008 film, Fabled Enemies. Now, this does nothing to help any Palestinian cause either. And that also makes me take pause. And what do I mean by that? You know, you can argue this whole blowback idea all day. And it's certainly worth noting that when you do this to a number of people for a number of years, obviously terrible things are going to happen on both sides. And they have. You know, we're not going to sit here and play either videos of this incident or say on the other side where IDF, you know, abused Palestinians. It's just, my stomach is already turned on so many levels, and that's kind of like the visceral response they want. But then they don't want you to think about it and say, bombs away. Just militarily, let's crush people. Okay? And that's a big issue. Okay? So, again, let's take the step back here. Israel has some of the best intelligence assets in the world. We're gonna go over that right now. In fact, just really briefly, there's this great article. We're going to actually read it today. We got a lot of time. Although I got a lot of clips too I want to get to. Revealed the former Israeli spies working in top jobs at Google, Facebook, and Microsoft. Recently, I had Tara Reid on my other broadcast, who is now exiled into Russia and actually applying for Russian citizenship because she does not believe she can come back. She was told she would be arrested. Actually, had a discussion with Matt Gaetz about it, and we'll get to Matt Gaetz today as well. Okay, because I think, I'm hoping Matt Gaetz doesn't betray me on this issue, but who knows? Everybody's bending the knee on this issue. It's just like total and complete support of Israel, total and complete support of Israel, total and complete support of Israel. Let's take a step back for a second. Seriously. Okay, now, like I said, they have amazing intelligence, like top of the line, very much a part of our intelligentsia system. So now the media is saying that Iran helped plan this attack. Okay, why is all this intelligence coming after the fact? Next thing, Iron Dome. For those that don't know what the Iron Dome is, it is this alleged technology that Israel has to stop any type of missile or air attack. Now, from what I've seen and what's been presented, from what I've watched to this, these people paratrooped in. So now I'm supposed to believe they messed up on the intelligence. Somehow, some way, this operation got by them. Hamas took to the air and then paratrooped people in without any pushback. Okay, maybe. But could it possibly be more likely that a third party, another either state or non-state actor asset, whether it be Central Intelligence Agency, Mossad, MI6, just putting it out there, infiltrates these units? All right, because we know that intelligentsia has infiltrated and really in many cases controlled things like, drug cartels, right? I mean, you look at Iran-Contra and you look at the Israeli-United States cartel mix. That's something worth noting. Historically, we should be looking at this. So what am I saying here? You get somebody like that on the inside, okay? And then they're the ones that project this operation. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have Hamas members going along with it and supporting it. For what they know, this asset is full on Hamas. Now, since the asset knows that they're going to pull this operation off, and it's really on behalf, it's sort of a pseudo false flag, okay? They in turn say, hey, we're doing this operation to the IDF, to the Mossad, whoever, and they stand down. And they allow this to happen for an escalation. Is that beyond the pale? Seriously? Is that a possibility? And if that happened, shouldn't we all just, whoa. Because when you look at 9/11, okay, Netanyahu, in fact, I think it says that, I think it was Netanyahu that says that they benefited from it. Yahoo. Benefits from one thing. 9/11. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's even on Google. I type in Netanyahu benefit from one thing, 9/11. Here's the exact quote right behind me. We are benefiting from one thing, and that is the attack on the Twin Towers and Pentagon. And we'll just go to the economy. I mean, Jesus. Is this blocked? I knew it. And the American struggle in Iraq. When was this? 2004? 2008. So this isn't even like right after the attack. Did Israel benefit from the 9/11 attacks? So you wonder why I take a step back. And then I've got to be on social media. And I got to watch all these people. They're just like, give them hell. I don't want more dead people. What do you mean, give them hell? So now when we talk about a blockade of no electricity, no food, no fuel for 2 million people, there are some states that don't have 2 million people. Sorry, I got this white thing on me that always drives me nuts. Should I or you be punished for the war crimes our military has clearly committed overseas? I don't think so. I had no part in that. Spoke out against it. Now, if you think that every Palestinian is backing this type of behavior, I would doubt it. I would say many of them are in desperation. It's a real thing. I don't know a solution to this. I really, at least given the realism of the current geopolitical spectrum. Like, again, I look at what my nation has done in response to 9/11, which I know I was lied about. And I know that elements of the nation state of Israel and elements of the nation state of the United States were both involved in. I know this. Anybody who's done the research knows this, and we know we were lied to about it. All right? How do I get behind them as a nation state? I still have to acknowledge the sins of my nation state, and I continually do. But this is an issue, man. Netanyahu, how do I get behind the guy that brags about having the medical records of 98% of his population, okay? His population in Israel, and saying he wants to smack a genetic database on top of that, and like gleefully and joyfully talks about how he'll put like a carrot on a stick for these people with maybe like a financial incentive, but most people will just volunteer. And that's not even the sharpshooter program. You know, I haven't brought that up again, but we're going to have to. I'm going to have to show you that. So now 2 million people are going to be, they're shutting off the power, and they're starving them out. 2 million people, around half of which are children. We're going to go to a break. We're going to come back. We're going to continue to talk about this issue. I've got videos from both sides as well. Those are things we're going to go over. I think it's important. I think the tone of the conversation has to be reason right now and not extremism and not more death. We'll be back after this.
Attention Americans, breaking news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. Take action now. The Federal Reserve phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard. Your hard-earned assets are in jeopardy. But there's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Reach out to American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Visit protectfrombiden.com. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Be smart. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Visit protectfrombiden.com to get your free guide and get started. Again, that's protectfrombiden.com.
All right, we are back. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Not even at 100 thumbs up over at YouTube, which is really a dying platform. Saw that Jay Dyer had to turn his, looks like he turned his channel private today for some reason. I would imagine there's trolls probably reporting every video and trying to get them banned. And it's so easy to do with these automated systems now. This is really just a launching point for RVMRumble.com, where you can watch the second hour free live Monday through Thursday. I want to get right back into it because I've got so much to go over here. So the sharpshooter program, we're going to do that live. We're going to make sure to read the McLeod story. I've got about 30 other stories. When I do these shows, I just never know how long I'm going to end up going on a subject, because this one is a big, big deal. It's a big deal because people that I thought might have a little bit more discernment, especially over the last few years, okay, over the last few years, that they wouldn't just be rushing to like the let's get back to bomb them into oblivion. Make it a glass sandlot. A glass parking lot. That's what it's called. So, sharp shooter, Israel, checkpoints, AI guns. That's what we'll type in. AI guns. There it is. So, I mean, right here, we talk about the censorship in China, right? South China Morning Post is reporting on it. I-24 News English. Where's the United States media talking about this? This is a year ago. It's a year. It's at the West Bank checkpoint. How do I get behind this? Because right now, all I see is an event that empowers more of those things to go up and instituted and normalized. Is that good? Do I want to watch that first video? Because as I understand it, it's already eliminated targets. But do I want to watch that first video of a mother and her child being gunned down from one of those things because it spots a tourist? A terrorist, huh? Do I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. And anything that's there, eventually they want to come here. Now I get it. When you see grandmas being taken away, boy, it gives Tony Blinken a lot to grandstand on. But I'm going to pose you this next one. I think that we should certainly, we got to play this AI-powered sharpshooter thing. We'll play that. And then I'm going to show you somebody who's already out in Israel grandstanding, in my opinion. Politically grandstanding. And once again, ask yourself, Is this a person I trusted before this incident? Should I trust this person? So let's get here. So I guess we'll do it like this so you can read it. Get myself out of here. Let's just take the music out. But look at this thing. Old city of Hebron. So you see this thing, and yet they still got the soldiers there, right? And the kid's like, get out of there. Take a good look, everybody. Well, everybody take a good look what you're cheering for right now. You know, oh, non-lethal projectiles like sponge grenades. Sure. Just going to disperse riots. Just awful. Awful. I mean, they're bringing in the robots. They're bringing in the robots. And if you don't think they bring in more robots after this, I don't know what to tell you. We're in a very, 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 very dangerous place. I mean, here's the oh man. So they've deployed these weapons, twin-ton turrets, tear gas, stun grenades. You see it? Operated by trained soldiers. They track their targets using AI. Let me just get myself out of the way. I mean, these are running on AI. Let's see if he's talking.
What we call a true fire control system. It's not only just relying on static information, it actually considers the human, the soldier, which is not stable. He's under pressure, he's tired, sometimes he didn't get enough training. And also the target is usually dynamic. It means it doesn't stay in place and it's moving all the time.
I mean, take a look. Like there's the back of the gun right there. Boom. Yeah. They're dehumanizing, dangerous, and unacceptable. Absolutely. But they've been there a year. And again, I don't like dead disco kids. I don't like it. Doesn't make me happy. Doesn't do anything to help any cause. So let me show you who's over there grandstanding right now. Once again, ask yourself, what is the larger play here? The larger play is more war and more control. Okay? So here is Cory Booker, one of the most disingenuous human beings possibly on the planet, certainly in politics, and that's hard to do. In Israel, not just talking about Israel, in Israel.
I am in Israel. About this time yesterday, I was jogging behind me in the old city when I got an urgent call from my chief of staff telling me to get back to the hotel as quickly as I could, that Israel was under attack. There were thousands of rockets being launched. When I got back to the hotel, I joined others in the bomb shelter or the stairwells of the hotel. Frightened faces. There were children and elderly families, many Americans. There was a sense of fear and worry, and a knowledge to many of us that there were horrific things going on around the country at that time. Hundreds of people have been killed. Thousands of people have been wounded in a level of attacks at a scale that is staggering and really has not been seen in this country for over 50 years. We who believe in peace and freedom and human rights for Palestinians, for Israelis, for all humankind, must reject those who use terror as their weapon.
Well, that's a great point, but like the checkpoints aren't terror. The sharpshooter stuff isn't terror. And, you know, he tries to, talk about freedom for both sides. But when you're talking about that kind of scale of military action, I mean, we know where this goes, guys. It doesn't go to a good place. That's where it does not go. It does not go to a good place. So Booker out there, he's politically grandstanding. I've seen it everywhere. I've got a great clip of Matt Gaetz talking about the Ukrainian conflict. And this guy has been really good lately on war. So immediately, I wanted to see what he had to say about this. Because honestly, over the weekend, before all this stuff started to go down, I had planned, I still plan to, show you Marjorie Taylor Greene standing with Code Pink, and then Code Pink immediately putting out a statement, who knew, right? I could not find Gaetz talking about this yet, okay? Alls I've seen in the news, if I do Gaetz and Israel, that's sorted by date, you see it. I've not seen his position on this. Will Matt Gaetz be one of the few people that stands up and says, whoa, 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 hold on. Let's not get kooky. And look, I don't like radical forms of any religion, whether it be Islam or Judaism or Christianity, okay? Any of it. I don't like it. Yeah. I wish that we could live by, what the anarchists and the ultra-libertarians call the non-aggression principle. It's not reality. Conflict's going to happen. I do believe people have the right to defend themselves. It's not what this is about to me. I don't know how you're defending yourself when you're cutting the power and the food supply of 2 million people as you bomb them. The vast majority of which had nothing to do with this attack on a concert. And really, the other thing is, as horrific and crazy and over the top as that scenario is, and how much death took place there, I just think to my own country, and I think about the Hawaii incident, and I think about all the dead children there, and I think about how quickly that incident has largely been forgotten, and how it was skewed in the media again away from that aspect, from that fact that so many children were killed. Okay? No aid, no nothing. And then something like this happens, and it's going to be everywhere. And it's not going away. And, people are criticizing Biden for having a barbecue and not making a statement. Biden doesn't run anything. They're going to prep whatever they got ready for this whole thing. They're going to try to rehearse it with 300 Joe, Zombie J. They're going to hype him up on all the amphetamines they can find. And they're going to try to wrap it in a bow in 5 to 10 minutes when they think he can handle it. And that's just the country we live in. It's just the world we live in right now. Okay? I just point that out. It's where we're at. Kind of sad. So, we're going to take a break. Got a couple minutes before that break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Matt Gaetz and the fact that he's talking, why don't we just send nuclear weapons over to Ukraine? Why not? Huh? We're rolling the dice. We're playing with fire. And that's the other thing. There's so many other things when it comes to this Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Now that we are seeing heavy munitions, now that we are seeing types of bombs, where do they get them? And I've already seen people speculating, and I'm not going to speculate, I'm just going to say what they're doing, that whether or not these arms are running through Ukrainian deals, right? Possible, I don't know. A lot of people have speculated through Afghanistan, where we left munitions there. Likely, I don't know. Arms trade is a big money trade. And the black arms trade is also a big money trade that a lot of nefarious actors, both former government and spook and asset alike, like to be involved in. So good luck there. There's going to be a lot of reporting that I'm going to be hesitant to just wholeheartedly believe. There already has been. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and then we're going to Matt Gaetz it. All right? After this word from our sponsor.
When I invented MyPillow, my passion was to help each and every one of you. And 20 years later, all of your support is what keeps us going. Because of you, we've been able to create thousands of USA jobs and help millions get the best sleep ever. To thank you, my employees and I are bringing you a limited edition MyPillow. The Giza Elegance MyPillow is made with my patented adjustable fill, the most amazing cotton, and a 2-inch pipe gusset. It has 4 custom loft levels, machine washable and dryable, and you get my 60-day money-back guarantee and 10-year warranty.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get your limited edition 20th anniversary MyPillow queen size. Retails for $69.98, now only $19.98. That's right, get a queen size MyPillow for only $19.98.
From all of us here at MyPillow,
You know, one more thing that I want to touch on before we play this video, and it's already being talked about, is the idea of a sleeper cell here in the United States. Now, whether or not that's even a possibility, I would say the opportunity is there. We've created a situation where the border has been wide open for years now. We have, you know, back in the see something, say something. It was all a bad joke to implement, like, literally slavery, compliance at airports and beyond, and to build an infrastructure of homeland security, fusion centers, and now they've weaponized the DOJ and the DOD openly against the American people. But if you don't think that a false flag could go off here now and be blamed on some Hamas sympathizer working with MAGA of all people, or somebody homegrown, like, you remember when they told you the John Walker Lynn story, all that? I mean, we got to realize a lot of fictitious things happened during the War of Terror. What was it, Jessica Lynch? Is that her name? You remember that? They literally got a Hollywood producer, Jerry Bruckheimer, to stage a rescue that already had occurred with Jessica Lynch. And then they made a TV movie about it. Like, she was like the female Rambo against the bad Iraqis. And then the actual literal rescue, they had Bruckheimer on the other end directing it. It sounds too wild to be possible, right? Let's do it live. First of all, let's see what we get in Google, and then maybe DuckDuckGo. But we might get it the first time. Bruckheimer, Jessica Lynch, Iraq. Okay, so the truth about Jessica Lynch, this is in 2003. Is Bruckheimer in that story? It doesn't say that he's not. This is The Guardian back in 2003. It's 20 years old now. Oh, come on. All right, so that's okay. We'll go to the Wayback Machine. We do it live. Thumbs it up, subscribe,
We'll do it
share.
live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Okay, we're trying here. I don't know if we're getting it. Wayback Machine. The search. What's going on here? There we go. It's like, come on. I got to be able to have it. Let's see. There's the 18th of 2023. Let's see if we get the whole thing. We do. All right, so let's see if Bruckheimer is in this one. Yes, it is. Okay, I mean, you can't make it up. I know a lot of people forget. But we have to remember, when I talked about in the very beginning this being like a movie, because that's what intelligentsia wants. They want that memorable moment. It's openly discussed in their white papers. Let's go back and just read this. I mean, by the way, towards the end of the article, if you get there, just want to point that out there. Even back then, most people didn't get past the headlines. But let me read it for you. Back in 2001, the man behind Black Hawk Down, Jerry Bruckheimer, had visited the Pentagon to pitch an idea. Bruckheimer and fellow producer Bertram von Munster, who masterminded the reality show Cops, suggested profiles from the front line, a primetime television series following U.S. forces in Afghanistan. They were after human stories told through the eyes of the soldiers. Van Munster's aim was to get close and personal. He said, "You can only get accepted by these people through chemistry. You have a bond with somebody. Only then will they let you in. What these guys are doing over there, these men and women, it's just extraordinary. If you're a cheerleader of our point of view, that we deserve peace and that we deal with human dignity, then these guys are really going out on a limb and risking their own lives." It was perfect reality TV, made with the active cooperation of Donald Rumsfeld and aired just before the Iraq War. The Pentagon liked what it saw. What Profiles does is given another depth to what forces are doing from the ground. Okay? It's just, the Pentagon has none of the British misgivings about its media operation. It is convinced that we worked with Jessica Lynch, and the other episodes of the war will work even better in the future. I mean, it just unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, so what's real and what's truth about the rescue? I mean, almost none of it was real. Literally, almost none of it was real. It's total fiction. All right, I want to get to the Gates clip because I got to get to it in this segment. Remember, second hour, rvmrumble.com. Here is Matt Gaetz.
Amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 161, printed in Part A of House Report number 118-216, offered by Mr. Gaetz of Florida.
Pursuant to House Resolution 723, the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Gaetz, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. This is an amendment to prohibit the transfer of cluster munitions pursuant to this legislation. And I'd like to begin by yielding 2 minutes to my distinguished colleague from California from the Armed Services Committee, someone who has led this Congress to try to stop the transfer of cluster munitions, the gentlelady from California, Ms. Jacobs.
Now, last week we played Thomas Massey, basically doing the same thing, reaching across the aisle. It failed. We're still going to do it, all right? But again, this is an important clip because not only do you have people coming together against war, which is important, we'll see where they're at today and tomorrow. It's also important, but Gates also talks about the proliferation of nukes. Like, why not just send them nuclear weapons? Hey.
The gentlewoman is recognized for 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, Congressman Gaetz, for your partnership on this important issue. Many of us have this idea of American exceptionalism, that America is set apart from the rest of the world. Well, that's certainly true when it comes to cluster munitions and not in the way that we want. America is an outlier. We are one of the few countries that hasn't become party to the Convention on Cluster Munitions, and that is a grave mistake. These weapons maim and kill indiscriminately. In 2021, the Landmine and Cluster Munitions Monitor found that over 97% of casualties from cluster bomb remnants were civilians, and 2/3 of those were children. That's because these bomblets are small, colorful, and interesting shapes, so to children they look like toys. So when kids find these unexploded bomblets stuck in trees or in the water or simply on the ground and try to pick them up and play with them, they can lose a limb or their life in the blink of an eye. And unfortunately, there's no amount of guardrails or promised precautions for cluster munitions that are enough. These weapons are unpredictable, and the human cost is far too high to justify. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about one country. This is not about Ukraine. This is about protecting civilian lives and ensuring our national security all over the world. Because sending these weapons anywhere makes us complicit in unavoidable civilian harm and creates blowback that undermines our national security. Our partners and allies look to us and expect us to do the right thing, to protect the marginalized, defend human rights, and strengthen democracy.
So once again, when we're talking about children, this is a real issue involving children and involving war. And even though this is something that gets debated heavily on the House floor, and actually obviously it's a nonpartisan issue, but you get both sides of the aisle at least to have some kind of a strong resistance, should be a top story. It's not. It's not. This one that's like a movie that got caught on video all over the place, going to be everywhere.
This reputation is what allows us to build and maintain international coalitions that further our goals. But if other countries don't look up to us and don't expect us to do the right thing, we will be alone on the world stage. So I urge my colleagues from both sides of the aisle to avoid all of these horrific consequences and support our bipartisan amendment to ensure that no funds can be used to transfer cluster munitions. Thank you, Congressman Gates. I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back.
Nope, I reserve.
The gentleman from Florida reserves. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Madam Chair, I claim time in opposition.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
I rise in opposition to the amendment. Artillery has been a critical part of Ukrainians' fight for survival. Cluster munitions fill a needed gap right now until the U.S. production and inventory of 155 munitions.
Take a look at this guy, Mr. War. No, we need it fills a needed gap. We don't care about the children and the civilians. It's very apparent when you actually look at the actions of these people. They can sit there and grandstand all they want about peace and freedom and democracy, but when it comes down to it, would this guy risk the lives of his children by allowing cluster munitions here? Huh? Should we have cluster munitions in New York and California, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri? Where? I'd say I don't want them anywhere in this country. Therefore, I shouldn't want them anywhere in the world. But it's tough for people to remain consistent.
Ammunition can catch up. The Russians have been using cluster munition for a year and a half from day one. We should not limit the Ukraine's ability to fight the Russians. I also note that there must be a commitment for all parties involved to clean up any remnants after this war ends. But this amendment goes beyond prohibiting the transfer of cluster munitions to Ukraine and would tie our hands in future conflicts. It's not hard to imagine, unfortunately, a situation where we might need to transfer these munitions to our allies and partners, for example, during a conflict on the Korean Peninsula or over Taiwan.
I mean, talk about just insanity. And look, there's Marjorie Taylor Greene eyeing him down. Good for her. I'm hard on Marjorie Taylor Greene a lot of the time because, of the Cruella de Vil stuff and the ridiculousness. That's all over the top. But I do got to say that, she's one of the few people that is actually anti-war. And, I want to just show this really quick because I think it's important. And, again, we give people the wins they deserve. When somebody steps up to the plate, does the right thing, and then there's just total hypocrisy about it after the fact, we got to point it out, okay? So Marjorie Taylor Greene is not only in opposition to the cluster bombs, but wants to stop this, all right? So she goes outside. She says she sees Code Pink protests, and she goes and she speaks really quick, and she takes pictures with them. Good. Let's reach across the aisle. Immediately after, in fact, I think it's a Blumenthal tweet, they had Code Pink. There has been some confusion about the image that was taken with Code Pink volunteers and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene opportunistically approached our volunteers in a parking lot on the Hill, and she requested they take a photo together. The opportunity is to come together against war, guys. That's real. That's real. So look, we got to take another break. We're going to come back to this video right here on the other side. Final segment in the first hour. Remember, the second hour is full-fledged free over at rvmrumble.com. Make sure you're subscribing to all the Rumble channels, my Rumble channel. Make sure you're following me over at Twitter at Jason Bermas as well. A ton of stuff that you're going to want to catch up on over there as well. Again, rvmrumble.com. Let's go to a word from our sponsor.
We interrupt today's programming to bring unfortunate news. Biden's dangerous plan for a digital dollar is underway. Don't be fooled. It won't benefit you. So take action now. The Federal Reserve's phased deployment of FedNow began on July 1st, 2023. Be prepared. This may catch many off guard and put your hard-earned assets in jeopardy. But here's the good news. There's a simple legal tax loophole to opt out of the digital dollar. Speak to someone at American Alternative Assets for a free wealth protection guide and discover how to safeguard your wealth with gold and silver IRAs against a failing dollar and volatile markets. Dial 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. This invaluable guide provides precise steps to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals without any tax consequences. Don't let Biden force you into using the government's new digital dollar. Call 833, the number 2 USA Gold. Yes, call now, 833-287-2465. Act swiftly, 833-287-2465.
So, we're going to go back to this this clip over here talking about cluster munitions and Gates standing up and making the comparison also to a possible nuclear conflict. So again, I'm against World War III. I'm against more dead people. I don't like what just happened, but I certainly don't like the response.
Amendment at the desk.
The clerk will...
Finally, the amendment may prevent the department from transferring these munitions among the military services, limiting the flexibility to support our warfighters. So I urge a no vote and yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Florida is recognized.
I would observe that we cannot have a goal of creating parity with the Ukrainian military and the Russian military. If that's the case, why not send nuclear weapons? These cluster bombs are indiscriminate. They've killed tens of thousands of people. And you just heard my colleague say that when this is all done, we'll be right back here on the floor appropriating money to demine the cluster munitions that we're now sending, which seems ludicrous to me. But I would love to yield 1 minute to the distinguished ranking member if she has any thoughts on the matter.
The gentlewoman from Minnesota is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support of this amendment. The decision by the Biden administration to transfer cluster munitions to Ukraine, in my opinion, was unnecessary and a sad mistake. Congress has been clear in prohibiting the transfer of any cluster munitions with a dead rate greater than 1%. The legacy of U.S. cluster ammunitions into the battlefield in Ukraine undermines our moral authority and places the U.S. in a position that directly contradicts 23 of our NATO allies who have joined the Joint Convention on Cluster Munitions. The legacy of cluster bombs is misery, death, and an expensive cleanup after generations of use. And I've been in Laos and worked with other countries to clean up this legacy. As has been pointed out, the U.S. pays tens of millions of dollars annually to remove cluster munitions from Laos, Vietnam era, as these are remnants of war. They continue to kill and maim civilians as we are here today. As a strong supporter of the Biden administration's policy in Ukraine, I must state the strongest possible terms my absolute opposition to the U.S. transferring cluster munitions. These weapons should be eliminated from our stockpiles.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Reserve. I reserve.
The gentleman has the only time, so the gentleman is recognized.
Oh, thank you, Madam Speaker. I appreciate the bipartisan support for this amendment. I would also want to thank Mr. Massey of Kentucky and Mr. McGovern of Massachusetts on the Rules Committee for having made this amendment in order. And I look forward to us working together to ensure that we've got humane policies when it comes to our munitions. And just to respond to the argument that there's somehow a Taiwan nexus here, I study the war games and the plans around Taiwan pretty extensively, and I have seen no scenario in which we believe that the appropriate utilization of munitions in Taiwan is going to require cluster munitions. It's largely going to be torpedoes, sea mining, but cluster munitions certainly have, I mean, we're still demining the cluster munitions in Laos. So we can make, I think, a wiser choice now, and one certainly that doesn't put any of our allies in jeopardy. Thank you Madam Speaker, I encourage adoption of this bipartisan amendment, and I yield back.
So, I want to hit some of the other news stories, or I might not hit them at all because I got more videos that I want to play, including the UN representatives from both Palestine and Israel. The Palestinian video is about 11 minutes long. We'll see how much we get to. The Israeli video is 21 minutes long. I actually got another clip of Joe Kennedy grilling one of these judges that, in my opinion, is just completely insane, and they're trying to empower right now. And Kennedy, he's at least fun to watch. I mean, and the way he frames things, I mean, he did some really good stuff on Fauci and Francis Collins when nobody else was. So that'll be something that I want to get to. I don't know if we're going to get to. I want to read that entire Alan McLeod article that names names and shows you the intelligence apparatus from Israel that's right inside our techno-fascist media, military, industrial complex. And that's what social media really is. Okay. So let's man, I don't even want to do that one because we're in this first hour still. Let's see. Didn't we cover that one really quick? These were all kind of covered quick last week. I was supposed to do a mixed martial mindset with John Fitch, and I was unable to do that, which sucks. Okay. We just had a scheduling conflict. Couldn't do it Thursday. Didn't get together Friday. Weekends fly by. Max Blumenthal. It was always unreasonable to expect the squad to do to Pelosi what Gates just did to McCarthy. And that's another reason I like Gates. Right? He stepped up. He said he was going to do it, and he got rid of McCarthy. Good. Yeah, they want fame. They're in music videos and stuff. Right? Right? Isn't that you, Ilhan Omar? And look, at least Ilhan, isn't one of the warmongers. But give me a break. Come on. It's just, again, we're on the cover of the Rolling Stone with Nancy Pelosi. Establishment ridiculous. Hit this really quick, but it deserves noting to just show you how all of the world and beyond really is a stage. Prada will help design the spacesuits for NASA's 2025 Artemis 3 mission. Hey, who cares about functionality when you're in the deep throes of the nether regions of a vacuum of hellish space? And you need every technological advantage to not only thrive, but merely survive. Prada's coming in. They gotcha. They're going to make you look good doing it. Does that make sense to any thinking human being? That you would give a rat's ass about the visual design instead of the functionality and bring in Prada? Well, let's bring in Prada or Versace. Well, maybe Nike wants to sponsor it. Huh? What about Tommy Hilfiger? Hey, this is the first woman in person of color. So maybe Vans or something does the shoes, or Steve Madden. I don't want to get too gender specific, right? And then you can have like FUBU. No, I don't know if FUBU's still around, but the For Us By Us make a comeback. You have multicultural all over the place. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This one's going to be brief. Remember, the second hour coming up, we're gonna hit more of these videos. We're gonna focus more again on this Israeli and Palestinian conflict and what we do from here. OnlyFans announces partnership with PFL to host behind-the-scenes content for MMA fighters, including Muhammad Ali's grandson, Biagio Ali Walsh. Now, OnlyFans has been trying to, get away from just the sex industry, which obviously it's known for. It's been sponsoring things like BKFC. PFL is owned by Paramount. Okay, I just want to let everybody know where all this goes. So Paramount and the PFL, they also have deals with ESPN for broadcasting in this country. They don't look very profitable right now. The marketing's not great. Bellator, which is owned by Viacom, which is another mixed martial arts company, also might be in the throes of folding. There may be a merger. There may be a buyout. Who knows? Looks like OnlyFans is going to be involved. So I just want to point out that, like, we've seen the normalization and sexualization of mainline entertainment for some time now. But aside from, like, the ring card girls, it's never been at the level it's about to be. And the line is getting blurred even further. Just wanted to point that out. Can we get 200 thumbs up? Can we do it, Bermas Brigade? Remember, second hour over at Rumble, RVMRumble.com. The rise of debanking. Silicon Valley payments firm Stripe accesses dozens of risky accounts, including those belonging to a boudoir photographer and a movie producer who sells vintage military uniforms. Okay? I wasn't able to get a Stripe account. I think it's dangerous. We've already seen it all over the place. You do or say something they don't like, and they just say no. And since, this has been largely streamlined, and this is what Rumble uses. You see, Rumble, you want to be about free speech. I don't know that you can use Stripe. And I would say it's tough to use PayPal. So what do you use? I don't know. Maybe it's time to create. And then you got all that Teal money in Rumble, and Teal's connection to the creation of PayPal. Just saying. When contacted by Daily Mail, Stripe would not elaborate on why Schultz's account was closed. And and by the way, this thing just, it was founded in 2010. Okay? The firm famously processes payments for OnlyFans, an online subscription platform service commonly used to upload adult material. So again, that's fine. That's fine. But we don't like your politics. We don't like what you sell. But pornography politics are fine. Okay, I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy, that's all. Fraud or real estate, 5 takeaways from week 1 of the Trump Organization trial. So I want to point out that a judge, I think I got it over here, stepped in and said, look, you can't take away the guy's business license. They're trying to cripple him financially. That's a good thing. But it seems like they've really already forgone all the due process, and he's guilty. This jury trial is going to be a farce. We'll see what happens on appeal. We'll see if there's a change of venue. It's going to be interesting. Today's the day. Happening really in a couple hours. RFK Jr. will be probably announcing that he is, in fact, going to be an independent. All right. So what time does this take off today? I'm trying to think. I think it's like 1 p.m. Eastern time. Isn't that right? Let's see. Let's see what RFK. Let's do it live. RFK Jr. Let's see if anyone's covering the big announcement. Okay, that's an hour ago. That's the top one. Polling high for an independent, but it might not last. I'm sure CNN. Drop the Democratic bid. Here, let's just go to that. And the third party run. When does it happen? I don't want to drag everybody away from Red Voice Media, but I'm sure they're probably going to be covering it. I'm pretty sure it's in the next couple hours. Oh, what do we have here? And look at them trying to smear people. Man, this kills me. Every time. You can't click on an article. And by the way, Kennedy's position on this Israel thing sucks too. Sucks. We're going to be honest here. While Kennedy has long identified as a Democrat and frequently invokes his late father, Senator Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy, on the campaign trail, he has built close relationships with far-right figures in recent years. He appeared on a channel run by the Sandy Hook conspiracy theorist Alex Jones and headlined a stop on the Reawaken America tour, a Christian nationalist roadshow put together by Trump's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. I speak on that I'm not a Christian nationalist by any means. One more commercial. We're going to come back to YouTube really quickly, tell you where you can find the second hour after this. Hint, it's rvmrumble.com.
If you're like me and you want to be prepared for the unexpected,
that's where the wellness company's emergency medical kit comes
over
in.
40% of Americans say that they would avoid a doctor or a hospital unless it was a catastrophic situation.
Medical emergency kits with...
The kit contains 8 potentially life-saving medications for you to keep on hand in the event of natural disasters, supply chain shortages, medical emergencies, or like an apocalyptic situation. These are the actual medications that you would need in the event of certain situations. So they've got emergency antibiotics, antivirals, antiparasitics.
All right, folks. Excuse me. Yes, if you're here on YouTube, you know the drill. Second hour, uncensored, unabridged, and off of YouTube. So that's going to be over at rvmrumble.com. Remember to follow on all social media. Like, share, subscribe, and